Welcome. My name is Jody Fick, Director of Siouxland Libraries, and today we have a huge announcement to make. Last year, Siouxland Libraries, 2018, Siouxland Libraries started the One Book Siouxland program, and what One Book Siouxland is we select a title, citizens select a title that we all get to read and learn more about. And so we join together for a community discussion on a book that we hope will enhance our life in some way. I'm going to introduce Jane Taylor. Jane Taylor is the chairman of our One Book Siouxland Siouxland Committee. Jane?
Thank you, Jody. We'd like to take a moment to thank all the people that were involved in choosing our One Book Siouxland for 2019. We have an advisory team that reads a wide variety of books, and they narrow those down to 3 titles for the selection team. So on the advisory team, we had Kim Awala, Scott McCutcher, Heidi Reynolds, and Joel Rosenthal, and we thank them very much for their service. And on the selection team, they selected out of 3 books that were given to them, Vernon Brown, Denise DiPaolo, and Jill Tenhaken, and I'd like to give them a round of applause for all their hard work. I'd also like to thank our team at the library. We have Katie Becker, Jane Healy, Alice Singh, Amber Fick, and Sarah Bueller, who are on that team. So thank you for that team too. So without further ado, we're going to reveal what we have chosen for One Book Siouxland 2019. So if I could have somebody come up and take our One Book Siouxland off. And Jody can take those off. So as you see, we have Prairie Fires by Carolyn Fraser. The quality of this book made it readable, but it was also a Pulitzer Prize winner. So it was a challenging book, but the language and the topic of the book really hit the advisor team and the selection teams. So it's compelling. The people in our area can feel a connection to Laura Ingalls Wilder. The appeal is both to men and women because of the strong characters and the farming aspect and the weather aspect. There are many topics to explore. As Denise from the selection team notes, it creates a historical context around the Little House books. And I like how it paints Laura as a real, whole person. The Laura we know is a prairie angel, but no real person could live up to that. And that's what this book does. It gives us a sense of Laura as a real person. So, without further ado, we do have many activities that we will be planning around this title. First of all, we have a kickoff at the Prairie West Library for Pioneer Day. We'll have music by Bill Peterson that day. An author visit. We have thankfully gotten the author to come to Sioux Falls, and she will be doing an author talk at the Orpheum Theater on April 27th. Besides that, we have book discussions for both young and old. We'll have a children's book discussion that will be based around the Little House in the Big Woods. Getting to know Laura Ingalls Wilder. We have a Laura Ingalls Wilder personality. She will be Laura Ingalls Wilder and have a program based on that. We also have a South Dakota quilting heritage, learning from the Dust Bowl, a weather and farming program, and we have Donald Maltalou, and we'll be doing an art program for children. We will also be hosting a virtual book discussion, so if you cannot come to our programs, we will be doing an online virtual book discussion weekly during the month of April. So I'm going to take that off. And now, Jody is going to do a short reading from the book and why this is one of the reasons we picked.
So, Prairie Fires, The American Dreams of Laura Ingalls Wilder. Most of us remember reading these books as children. Many in our community have been up to DeSmit to see the play. This book, I just finished reading it, and this book takes the book, all the romance that we have from those stories, and gives us the true person. and it puts us into a really good historical context. So we will be learning about the Indian massacres. In Laura's books, she has a certain view of the Indians. We're going to learn more about how the Native Americans really are a part of our world and the things that we've done to them over the years. We are going to learn in this book about the grasshoppers, the locusts that came and filled up her home when they came and they ate all of Charles Ingalls of Paw's wheat harvest. And they filled the houses 6 inches deep with locusts. This book is just quite an amazing story, but I want to today share just a little excerpt of it so you can get a taste of the quality of the writing of Carolyn Fraser. She won the Pulitzer for this book, and so I think you are going to really enjoy it. So, without further ado, again, another without further ado, we will just read a short excerpt from the book. As children, we thought we knew her. She was the real-life pioneer girl who survived wildfires, tornadoes, malaria, blizzards, and near starvation on the Great Plains in the late 1800s. She was the fierce, uncompromising tomboy who grew up to write famous books about her life. Little House in the Big Woods, Farmer Boy, Little House on the Prairie. She was the woman whose true life stories went on to sell over 60 million copies in 45 languages and were reincarnated in the 1970s and 1980s as one of the longest running, most popular shows in television history, still in syndication today. But as adults, we have come to see that her autobiographical novels were not only fictionalized, but brilliantly edited in a profound act of American myth-making and self-transformation. As unpublished manuscripts, letters, and documents have come to light, we have begun to apprehend the scope of her life, a tale that needs to be fully told in its historical context as she lived it. That tale is different from the one that she wrote. It is an adult story of poverty, struggle, and reinvention. Wilder would become one of the self-made Americans her daughter Rose so admired. In the third act of her life, in the midst of the Great Depression, she began recording in soft pencil, in tablets from the dime store, a memoir of her youth. The story of homesteaders who had unwittingly caused the dust bowl she was living through. Painfully casting her mind back to the previous century, she pressed on, kept awake all night by remembering her family's misfortunes and failed crops, her sister falling ill and going blind. What had been punishing to survive was heartbreaking to relive. Rose once jotted down a quotation she attributed to her mother. "I don't know which is more heartbreaking, a dream unfulfilled or a dream realized." She would help her mother realize a dream, bringing her professional connections and polish to the work. But it was her mother's stoic vision of pioneer grit that prevailed. So, a little sample of the writing. And in this book, you learn about that pioneer grit. And you learn so much about our American history, both in how it prevailed, how it was affected these books and Laura back in the late 1850s, but how it applies to life today. So, join with me in reading the book and discussing it with your neighbors. The library has purchased nearly 200 copies, so we have plenty for everyone. The book makes a great Christmas gift. Buy it for that favorite friend. And I look forward to seeing you in April when we meet with the author.